What do you mean like?
And I walk in the studio, and Rob Parker, this Antonio Brown news is a shocker.
It's good. It's good news for Antonio Brown and for the National Football League.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the best receivers who's ever caught a football.
Stop it.
No.
Just
and
stop.
You know what? I give the Saints credit. They're looking for help. They're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Chemistry. Who cares?
Why not?
What is chemistry? Forget about it. Let's bring in this. Oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. Let's bring in this thug moron, Antonio Brown. Last week, he's putting out rock videos.
Dude, stop with the
Rob
moron.
Parker. Hey, he's a quitter.
Like him, but
he
stop.
is a quitter. Antonio Brown, a year ago, quit on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Walked out of practice in the middle of Week 17. No-showed for the game. Complete no-show just because he wasn't voted the MVP by his teammates.
This is how bad you are, is that you took that personally, right? But it's funny because the Raiders didn't take it personally because they signed him to a new deal. The Patriots didn't take it personally because they picked him up after everything that went on with the Raiders. And I'm not surprised. The National Football League is filled with guys who have done bad stuff and have been given second, third, fourth chances. You know why? Because it's a unique situation for guys who can play in that league at a high level. Everybody's looking for an advantage. I'll tell you this. If the Patriots could get him back to start the playoffs, they would. That's how good he is, and the Saints are no different. If he hasn't been suspended by the league, there's no reason why the Saints can't take a look and say, this guy could help us get to where we want, which is another Super Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You have no idea when you bring this guy into a locker room. Antonio Brown is so toxic, he quit on the Steelers. Then the Raiders give him a chance. And how soon did they regret that? He quits on the Raiders. He was out there
and the
in
Patriots
his backyard.
picked him up in how long?
Hold on.
How long did it take?
Hold on. And what happened with the Patriots? They had to dump him because he lied to them.
How long did it take, though, for them to pick him up?
They picked him up because they were desperate at receiver. And what happened? They go in, and within seconds, Antonio Brown's lying to Kraft, and they got to dump him. Antonio Brown is not what you want on your locker room. He is not what the Saints need. This is a team that's trying to get back to a Super Bowl. They were inches away last year. I'm aware Michael Thomas is the best receiver in the league right now. Okay, can't guard Mike. We know nobody can check him. And if you line up Antonio Brown on the other side, boy, that is lights out. That is an incredible offense. Except what's going to happen when Antonio Brown, and I don't want to use this, maybe it's too early for this analogy. I'll save it. But I'm telling you, this guy, he's a model citizen for about 8 minutes, and then it's back to being a knucklehead.
Are you putting together a boys' choir or a football team? Stop it.
Yeah, chemistry. Who cares about chemistry?
And
you got me hot and bothered early.
He's not
taking the jacket off.
He's cleared. He has to be. That if someone wants to sign him, all right, that I guess the Saints is like, let's kick the tires. Let's see if he's okay, if we can utilize the guy's talent. So I'm not surprised that they're looking at him.
Yeah,
I'm
listen,
not.
You mentioned second, third, fourth chances, and I'm all for that too, okay? How many second, third, fourth chances do you want with Antonio Brown lawsuits? Go read the story that came out about 6 months ago about Antonio Brown and many of his baby mamas and all the drama and the issues. Do you want that in your locker room, Rob Parker?
Yes, because there's guys all over the league. We've seen guys who were convicted of beating up women, children. They're still playing. They're still playing. Stop it. This selective. You're going to pick out one guy in a league where there's other guys who have
picking on him.
Yes, you are. There are other guys.
Not.
You're not the same with other guys who have done even worse stuff.
Listen, I'm all for giving people second and third chances.
I have no problem
no doubt
with this.
about it.
The idea is to win. If the guy's not in prison or on the commissioner's list where he's ineligible to play and he's a football player, then he deserves an opportunity. If he's done something wrong, Jason, then the league should be on the exempt list, right? That he shouldn't be allowed to be signed.
Again,
that's not the case.
Technically, you're right. Yes, you can bring him in. He is not ineligible to play in the NFL right now. Yes, that is technically true. But do you want the baggage?
Yes.
Do you want the nut job? Go listen.
Yes, because I'm trying to win a Super Bowl if I'm the Saints. Yes.
And what's going to happen when Antonio Brown doesn't get a pass thrown his way for a quarter and the Saints are down 10-3? Is he going to start chirping? Are you waiting? Are you waiting for one of these rock star vibes? Look at his – hold on. How about this hashtag from Antonio Brown 8 days ago? Rock star vibes coming. No white women 2020. What is that about? What are we doing here? That's the kind of guy you want to bring. That's just a snapshot.
Is that criminal?
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm asking you.
Rob, can you imagine?
He called the NFL racist too. So what's the...
Here's Antonio Brown. This is the mindset that you're bringing in. When my mama said I ain't got no friends, I should have listened. I walk out of G5 right to the G5. Like, what are we doing? Does he care about football or does he want to be a rock star?
Jason, he's a football player, and sometimes when you have guys who are so talented, they have other issues. They have things. Everybody's not perfect.
No, of course
Everybody's not perfect. Everybody's not going to play the same way or be Tom Brady in the world. That's just not how it works.
I understand.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that.
But why does it have to be one or the other? Like total knucklehead quitter or a choir boy. Why can't there be in the middle? And Antonio Brown definitely veers toward man. This guy's got some baggage.
All I'm going to tell you is the stuff you're talking about to me does not exceed what I've seen other people in the NFL get away with and still have a job in the league, because there's so many people with a unique skill set. There aren't guys all around, laying around that teams could pick up. That's why guys like that always going to be a viable, as long as he can play, will be viable.
There is no doubt in my mind.
The same way Marshawn Lynch just went back to Seattle. Is there no other running back in this country of 330 million people that they can pick up?
Is probably a Hall of Famer,
I
right?
know, but he hasn't played in 18 months or whatever it is. My point is there aren't that many people laying around with those kind of skills. That's why he's viable.
So we do have other big news to report, and we will get back to Antonio Brown in about 30 seconds. Dan Quinn is coming back to the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons start 1-7. They win a bunch of irrelevant games. They're bringing back Dan Quinn. Do you want to quickly pivot to Dan Quinn for a sec, or stay on Antonio Brown and I continue to beat you up like I've been doing?
You're not beating me up at all.
Rob, I feel bad. Here's another great tweet.
We'll
Antonio
talk about
Brown.
That later.
And again, I don't value Twitter that much, but this is the mindset of what Antonio Brown is.
Because it works for your narrative. Now you're going to read tweets.
Here's Antonio Brown, December 18th. If I beat my kid with a belt, it better be a Louis belt. I got beat with some cheap belts. Cheap, shaking my head, cheapskates. What are we doing here? This guy has some legit mental issues. Antonio Brown has to work through a lot of stuff, Rob. Okay? I mean, you could read all the text messages, go to the stories. Antonio Brown is a bit of a loose cannon. Yes, you get him inside the hash marks, man, he's going to kill it. But what happens when he goes home at night? Are you going to have to lose sleep? Is Sean Payton going to have to lose sleep that my phone rings in 2 a.m? Ah, man, this is about Antonio Brown, isn't it? Listen, we both are at FS1, okay? We are in the building. Coaches come through. GMs come through, and we pick their brains, Rob. And the number one thing, unfailingly, I hear from every coach, GM, even the players, man, we don't want no distractions. And when Sean Payton gets a text or his phone rings at 2 a.m, okay, you know it ain't about Michael Thomas. It's not about Drew Brees or Kamara. It's probably about Antonio Brown, and that's not what these guys need.
Do you remember the Saints? Do you remember that Sean Payton got suspended for a year? Do you remember that? For Bounty Gate?
Yes, Bounty Gate.
Okay, he came back to his job, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember Greg Williams, Bounty Gate?
Bounty Gate, I remember Greg Williams.
Okay, my point is that there are people all over the league who have had their own issues, maybe not as dramatic as Antonio Brown. The league is filled with second chances.
Second and third and fourth, I agree.
Okay, I
love giving people second chances.
And his talent is worth it. That's why the Patriots snapped him up in 15 minutes after all the drama that we saw unfold with Oakland, right? After everything, they still picked him up in 15 minutes. You know why? Because they believed he could help them. They're dying to get a receiver. I'm telling you, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick would take Antonio Brown. When they see the news today, they'll be like, damn, I can't believe it.
Let me...
Because that team, if you had Antonio Brown and he plays right for 4 games, could win a Super Bowl. That's all they care about in New England. I mean, in New Orleans. And
that's all anybody cares about.
Well,
so, Rob,
that's the reason why.
You got about 12 teams in the mix for the Super Bowl, right? Every playoff team. We'll throw the Cowboys in there if you want. The Philadelphia Eagles are down to guys they're pulling off the street. They are pulling guys out of nativity scenes at churches in the holiday to play wide receiver right now. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow, you went there.
Why didn't they call Antonio Brown?
You don't know what they did.
I mean, the Tennessee Titans have receiver issues.
But I'll give you this.
Up and down the list. The Kansas City Chiefs have had injuries. Why didn't they? Nobody wants this toxic punk Antonio Brown.
Well,
you
but
don't want him in the locker room.
You say nobody does, but he's in New Orleans today.
Everybody else had a shot. Now, New Orleans.
But you're saying nobody wants him. He's in New Orleans
so
today.
let me
be honest. You did not think he'd be playing this year. Am I right?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And I thought there was always a possibility because he's that talented. You take him, Antonio Brown, put him with the Packers now. They don't have any receivers.
So why didn't they call him?
No, but I'm just saying.
Why didn't they call him?
But everybody's not going to do it. But there's going to be someone. There's going to be somebody who's going to take a chance.
Okay.
And New Orleans saying, and you would say New Orleans doesn't need him. They got the best receiver in football.
Correct.
Right?
Okay.
And then you add him to the mix. Now what? You just said it.
Certainly.
Now, you don't think that makes them the
you
favorites?
said why New Orleans? Why would New Orleans take a chance out of everybody? Let me just remind you. So 2 weeks ago, there's a guy on the New York Giants, a cornerback, their best player. His name is Janoris Jenkins.
Yes.
Did you read what happened to him?
Sure.
So he went on Twitter, and some fan was saying he stinks, and he called the fan
the R word.
I'll just say it.
The R word. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Some people might not know. Not racist.
No. I know, but they don't like you to say it. That's why I'm saying.
It's a word about mentally handicapped people. It's not an appropriate word. Okay. So then the media asked him about it, and he was like standoffish with the media. The New York Giants cut Janoris Jenkins. Guess who picked him up a week later?
I know.
The New Orleans Saints. Now, let me ask you this. The New Orleans Saints are picking up this guy, Janoris Jenkins, very talented, but, again, a bit of a knucklehead. You love second chances. Would you have picked up Janoris Jenkins 3 days after he called some fan the R word and then just stayed when the media asked him about it? He's like, no, that's what we joke around with our friends. And
Well, the whole thing is, what did he say when he interviewed with the Saints? Was he remorseful then? Did he really realize the scope of it? Did he have a come to Jesus because he got released? You don't know. Sometimes people don't even realize where they are. And he might have stood by principle then, but then after he got released and his livelihood was at stake, maybe he came to his senses and apologized and realized he made a mistake.
So not a public apology, just a private one to the Saints.
I'm just
saying, desperate guy wants to stay in the league, go to a Super Bowl.
Enough for the Saints to acknowledge it and to go and feel like it wasn't going to hurt their fan base or what they're about.
Now,
all I'm saying is there are plenty of guys around the league. This is not shocking to me at all. The day that Antonio Brown can't play, nobody will be interested in him. As long as he's one of the greatest receivers we've ever seen in the National Football League, and he still can play. We saw when he had a cup of coffee and a sweet roll with the Patriots how good he was, right? Didn't you see that?
He was very good.
He jumped on the field right away.
Against the Miami Dolphins.
I don't care. But,
against some the dregs in the league.
But he was still catching touchdowns and catching balls is my point. And he still can play. Everybody knows he's a talent. So you know what? Bravo to the Saints to even look into it. It doesn't mean it's not a done deal or a signed deal, but I don't have an issue of them looking at him.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What adds up? Well, first of all, what did you think was worse? Signing Jenkins after what he did or this Antonio Brown workout?
Neither one. I just don't think those are the end of the world. There's guys who are convicted of beating women who are in the league.
Wait, are there?
Yeah.
I don't want to press you to name them, but anyways.
Did not Greg Hardy sign with? He's not in the league
he's
now.
Not in the league.
But did he get a job after that?
He got a look with the Cowboys, I think.
No, he played for the Cowboys.
Played with the Cowboys. Got like 2 or 3 weeks, right?
He played though, is my point, and he was convicted in a court of law. That's all I'm saying is that there are guys.
So where do you draw the line on Antonio Brown? So all these lawsuits. So let me just remind you of another one.
You know,
here's a lawsuit because I've hammered Antonio Brown.
Civil lawsuits don't bother me.
Anybody
could file.
We did Undisputed back in August. You and I and Greg Jennings, and man, I slaughtered the Raiders. Sorry, Danny G. I know they're your team. I hammered the Raiders. I hammered Antonio Brown. And man, people were coming after me for weeks. I'm like, what's the deal with Antonio Brown? So then I went after him on my radio show on Saturdays. And this is the one lawsuit that really ticked people off. In October 2018, Antonio Brown's in Miami, and police were called when Antonio Brown was throwing stuff off his balcony, chairs, at his baby mama. Okay? He was throwing lawsuits. Now, again, no arrest, okay? But a lawsuit was filed. Then in February 2019, this calendar year, police were called when another one of Antonio Brown's baby mamas dropped off a kid for visitation, and allegedly Brown pushed the woman when she wouldn't get out of the doorway. Police were called, no lawsuit. So, again, there's not any incident that's like, oh my gosh, you cannot play this guy. He didn't kill anybody. But at what point does this ticking time bomb go off, Rob? Because that's what he is.
You know what? When he can't play anymore is when people won't mess with him. That's just the nature of this business. It's such a unique business. Most people can't play this game, so that's why these guys get second, third, fourth chances. It's just the nature of the sport. And I know what you're saying. If this was a law firm or something else, where there's if I get rid of you, there's another 40 guys waiting out here with the same qualifications. That's not the case. He's a unique talent. He's a cut above most of the guys catching footballs in the NFL. That's why he continues to get opportunity. There's no way. After the scene that went on with the Oakland Raiders, everybody thought, that's it. He's out of the NFL. And 15 minutes later, the Patriots have a deal signed.
Well, the Patriots are the team you love to bag on. You love shredding Kraft and Brady.
And you know what they do? What do they do?
What did they do? They cut Antonio Brown. Why?
They also...
He lied to them.
Aaron Hernandez was picked up by the Patriots, where he was on teams do not draft lists because of his gang ties.
So the Patriots dance with fire with Aaron
Hernandez
that got burned.
They do it all the time.
They learned their lesson. Be careful. So what happened with
time.
Antonio Brown? The domestic violence stuff, and boom, they're done. I can't deal with this guy. And now the New Orleans Saints are dancing with fire?
The New Orleans Saints they're trying to win a Super Bowl. That's all I'll tell you.
Does Antonio Brown make the New Orleans Saints a team to beat in the NFC?
Yes.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
I think that they'll have an offense
crazy?
with Drew Brees, and I think there'll be a hard out.
You know, it's
There'll
funny.
be a hard out.
The Browns signed or traded for Odell Beckham, and that was supposed to put them over the top.
According to who?
According to everybody.
I didn't pick them.
I did not. No, I didn't.
I didn't have them making
but
the playoffs.
But a lot of people
did you
had
have them in the playoffs?
No, heck no.
All right, then. So you didn't think that. I didn't think it either.
The idea that wide receivers
This is a good
are
team already. The Saints are a
top.
good team already. All I'm saying to you is all right, Antonio Brown, so you're going to double up I'm
not double Antonio Brown.
Not Antonio.
Michael Thomas, yeah.
You're going to double him. Okay, he's open now.
Throw it to him.
Okay.
And then guess what?
I'm
He's going to go
asking you.
celebrate with probably some I shouldn't even say that.